If you are cramming for your IELTS exam, stick around because we're going to check out the 4 major components of vocabulary that make up your mark on the test. That means we're going to be going into detail and looking at some model examples for synonyms, phrasal verbs. I'll tell you all about them. Also, we're going to look at collocations. And last but not least, we're going to examine some idiomatic expressions. If you put all of these 4 kinds of vocabulary into your English speaking and writing, you're definitely going to improve your skills significantly. Welcome to the class, guys. My name is Kevin. I'm an English teacher and a writer. What we're looking to do with this course and these videos is basically give you simple, clear, effective study methods. We're going to get right into things now. So the 4 kinds of criteria that make up your IELTS speaking mark in terms of vocabulary are synonyms, phrasal verbs, collocations, and idiomatic expressions. We're going to look at all of these, and I'm going to use an IELTS speaking question part 2. So that is the card with your 2-minute answer, and we're gonna look at some different points on that card and build answers that include these 4 kinds of vocabulary. First thing we want to look at is high vocabulary synonyms. And basically, we're dealing with everyday words that are practical and most useful. You want to substitute the words that you come up with automatically, the words that help make your points, with higher vocabulary. When you're coming up with your keywords for your points, again, you're just looking for synonyms. So synonyms, again, as I know you know, they're different words with the same meaning. The point is basically just your example and your reasoning to back that up. Okay. And when you're giving, say, a short answer that might be 15 to 30 seconds, you might just have 1 or 2 points at the most. And you might have 1 or 2 examples for each. We're going to look at the IELTS Speaking Part 2 card, and you can see it right here, which is to describe a gift you received that is important to you. If you're familiar with this, it's really quite often just some of the 5 W's. You get the who, where, when, and more often than not, the last point on the card will be a why. So you can see here, again, the breakdown of the card, what it is, when you got it, who gave it to you, and why it is important to you. Okay, so we're just choosing the point why it is important here. And you can see that there are a couple points to make here within that. The first one is because it's valuable. And the second is because the gift it's a thoughtful gift, we'll say. Keep it simple. And the third point is because the gift is useful. So what we're going to do, you're going to see, we're going to substitute high vocabulary, some synonyms for these 3 keywords for each of our points, okay? And right now, if you're thinking about it, maybe you're already coming up with some in your mind. And here are our high vocabulary synonyms. As you can see, we have sentimental value. Things have monetary value or financial value, which is the money, the bling bling value. And things also have sentimental value. That is, sentimental is more like it stirs up emotions within you. So for the second one, because we said it's a thoughtful gift, we're going to actually just go deeper and say it's heartfelt. Okay, it comes from the heart. It's a heartfelt gift. And the third one, instead of useful, we'll give you the most common high vocabulary word for useful, which is practical. The gift has great sentimental value for me because my grandfather has since passed away. What's more, it's really a heartfelt present given that he slipped or put in some of his own poetry into the book. Again, this is the why point on the card, so we're just starting from the end. I'm going to say the gift is a book, okay? Another thing worth mentioning is that I am always looking to improve my writing, which makes this collection of poetry a very practical resource for me to draw inspiration from. Moving on to phrasal verbs. Let's examine quite simply what a phrasal verb is. It is an idiomatic phrase, and usually they contain a verb and an adverb. What phrasal verbs do, guys, is they modify or they change verbs, they change adjectives, adverbs, or even sentences sometimes. So they're quite common in our everyday speech. What is idiomatic? Idiomatic is a figure of speech. It's not a literal translation, okay? Which means that you can catch a bus, which means to get on it, and not miss the bus. You catch the bus. It doesn't mean, of course, you're catching the bus in your hand. There's no way that anyone can literally catch a bus unless they're like some kind of god or a giant. Similarly, when you have the expression to bomb a test, it means to fail a test, not drop a bomb on your test, although some of you might want to do that if you are failing. Coming back to this IELTS Part 2 card on gifts, an important gift, and we're going to have a few key verbs that you can see right here. So open the gift, surprise, and memories. Let's take those key verbs and we're going to come up with phrasal verbs that match those. You can see that instead of saying open a gift, you can say tore apart. We tore apart the wrapping paper. As a substitute for surprised, we can use blown away. And for memories, we can look back upon. These are all phrasal verbs. Using them will satisfy that phrasal verb component that your IELTS examiners are looking for. This applies to TOEFL as well, because these 4 parts of vocabulary are really, really useful. When I tore open the gift, I was immediately blown away. Moreover, every time I flip through this book, I can't help but look back on all the good times my grandpa and I shared. You can see them there, tore open, blown away, and look back on. The collocation means basically they are common word combinations. There are a few examples for you here. Have a look, take a break, make a decision. Since receiving this gift, I've spent countless hours looking over all the poetry and being inspired by it. Come to think of it, it would be nice to take the time to have one of my grandpa's poems framed. In this particular example, I'm talking about a book of poetry that my grandpa gave me, and he slipped in, right, or he put in a few of his own poems inside the book. And the thought is, it would be nice to take the time and have one of those poems, my grandpa's poems, framed, so I could put it up on the wall, and it would remind me of him. What are idiomatic expressions? Again, it's a figure of speech. It's similar to a phrasal verb in that you don't take the meaning literally. If I say to you, break a leg, I'm just wishing you good luck before your guitar performance, the battle of the bands. Not hoping that you break your leg, of course. Be on the ball means to be sharp, to be focused, to be ready. Not sitting or being, putting your head on the ball, using it as a pillow. That just wouldn't happen. So let's just take the when, as you can see before you hear when. I was feeling under the weather one day and my grandpa paid me a visit. Under the weather means you're feeling sick. We can look at the who. My father always told me that my grandpa was a salt of the earth fellow, and I should follow in his footsteps by lending a hand to others. Cram three in there, just giving you examples. Salt of the earth, trustworthy and honest. Um, Follow in the footsteps means to do the same work, or follow the same career path, maybe as someone in your family or a friend. Um, and to lend a hand, as I think you know, means to help somebody. Get those high vocabulary synonyms. So instead of help, we could actually say assist, as help is a very common word. There you have it. We're going to just give you a little bit of daily exercise so you can keep training and increasing your English speaking and writing skills. Look at some daily practice. All I want you to do is to find some IELTS Part 2 speaking cards. You can get them online, no problem. And try to make some points from the card using the high vocabulary synonyms, using those phrasal verbs, putting in your best collocations to include your most amazing idiomatic expressions, and you will be off to the races. These are the four things that make up your vocabulary that the IELTS examiners are looking for, which means that if you're hoping to bring home at least a 7 score, similarly, if you're on the TOEFL test and you want to attain at least a 100 score, you need to put all of these four kinds of vocabulary into your answer. With over 1 million words in the English language and a vocabulary that is growing every single day, we can't possibly keep up with it. But if you're aware of how important high vocabulary synonyms are, phrasal verbs, collocations, and idiomatic expressions, and you practice using them as much as you can so that you can do so in a natural way, your English speaking and writing skills will be climbing, and I know that you can take them to soaring heights. If any of this video has been helpful to you, don't be shy at all about clicking subscribe or leaving me your comments. I'd love to hear from you and help you any way I can. Consistency in everything is key, in exercise, in working regularly, or spending time with your family and friends. And I will do my best to make time to continue to put out these videos because it brings me a great amount of satisfaction for me to share my experience and all my best study tips with you guys. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you real soon. Take care.